Nobody was happy with him.
All right, I'm recording.
So should we not have been talking about this beforehand?
No, hang on, Jeremy.
You can edit. It
sounds so much better. All right. Hey, Jeremy, unmute yourself. Your breathing is just very intense. That's all. I was just seeing if it was you.
Is the breathing or fan this time?
It's his breathing this time. He's in a different room, I think.
All right.
All right. So we'll just do this. Go as long as until Grubhub gets here around 7 o'clock with my food. Maybe pause, get my food.
It's good to know we're on Mike's Grubhub time.
That's no shit. Well, what are you getting to eat, Mike?
Let's talk about that in the show. There we go.
Hey, go ahead. Start the show.
Oh, Jeremy's leaving. He's done. That was it. That was quick.
I don't hear his breathing anymore. Did he die?
Yeah.
Saint's like my teenage daughter with her iPad or iPhone pointing at the ceiling. That's what it was.
Yeah, right.
I tried to get her to show me her face. It never worked.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is. All right, Jeremy, you good now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You sound a lot better. What'd you do? You can tell us your secret?
Oh,
the fan was on again. This son of a bitch.
There's a different room.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the Usual Saints. I'm Mike D here this week with Vinny, Saint, and Jeremy. So, guys, incite any good insurrections lately, or no?
You're funny. You're a funny guy.
Nah, didn't get to it on my schedule this week, but hopefully next week, we can get to some good old, destroying a democracy whenever we get a chance to. So,
That was pretty crazy. Who was watching that live on Wednesday? Anyone watching that happen?
Yeah, I was watching it live a little bit on CNN. Right up until the curfew, and once it was cleared out, there's no sense in watching it anymore for me anyway. So I took off. But yeah, it was pretty intense there for a while.
I was getting the alerts on my phone, but I was really busy at work that day, and then when I got home and saw everything, it was just I've never seen anything like that. And I know people try to compare it to the people who are in the riot at the Capitol, try to compare it to like a Black Lives Matter protest or something like that. But that was insane.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it was the Capitol alone was ridiculous. I mean, rioting in the streets and busting up stores and whatever, that is one thing. But when you attack the Capitol, I mean that's and making the Senate shut down and leave. I mean, that's big time. So,
but at least they got their selfies with the cops. That was the important part inside the Capitol. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
I saw a video today that just got released of them stomping a cop outside the Capitol when they were breaking in. So, I mean, these people have no regard for human life or anything like that, and their whole thing was just to get inside. Now there are arrests happening, and now there's allegedly the FBI told the Capitol Police about it beforehand. So I guess it'll all keep playing out over this week and probably the near future.
Yeah, did you see the video with the girl getting shot?
I didn't watch the video. I saw just the pictures. I guess it's out there. Obviously, I'm assuming you've seen it.
Well, yeah, I've seen it. You don't actually see her get shot, but you do hear the shot, and then you see her laying on the ground. Unless there's other videos out there, I don't know. The only one that I've seen.
Yeah.
Just
no, I guess it's a good time. So let me say, okay, so I was watching it live. I was home, and I was catching because I kind of wanted to see, the overall procedure, and just guessing how some of the Republican congressmen were gonna, put up their objections and go through the whole process. So I'm kind of, I'm making lunch and, have one ear to the TV, trying to watch what's going on, and then eventually, it starts out in the chamber of the House. They make their objection, they separate, then they go to the Senate. Mitch McConnell starts his spiel. And in between there, something starts happening, right? So I think I had it on MSNBC, but again, I'm making lunch at the time, so I'm kind of in and out. And all of a sudden, you see the coverage starts switching to the outside and saying how there's people outside, and you start seeing all the footage of all the craziness going on. This is right before they actually breached in. So this is when I started watching, and just the craziness going on. And I pretty much, had to feed the kids, do all that, but I'm watching in and out and just seeing how just step by step, you see it escalate, and seeing the TV anchors just, every other 2 or 3 minutes, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Then they breached the Capitol. I can't believe this is happening. Then you see these people on the floor of the Senate and of the House.
Yeah.
They breached all the way through, and just, I think it was Chuck Todd and some of the MSNBC people just aghast, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And, these people were live streaming. So they were able to just go on Twitter, Facebook, and they were able to, these people basically telling on themselves. And so the news media is getting all these videos. And finally, to that woman getting shot, she was an Air Force vet. And there are 2 angles of it. Probably the one you're seeing, Vinny, is off to the side, where you hear the sound and you see the gun.
You can see the gun like sticking out, and then you hear a gunshot. And
no, see, that wasn't it. There's another one, and if you go on, it's on my Facebook page, because there's a good shot from behind. So someone's showing it from behind, and it's as clear as day. One guy in front of her is breaking down a glass, and he finally breaks down the glass panel, right? Yeah. There's 2 glass panels. She goes above him, and you can see her, and the door is barricaded. There's furniture. They basically barricaded themselves. And it's if you look through the windows where the guy's shooting, you can see it's a long hallway. They barricaded one. There's a hallway, and then they barricaded themselves further down the hall. So she's on the other side of this door. She starts climbing over, and as she starts trying to climb through one of the windows they just burst open, you hear the shot, and she falls back. So it wasn't like she was just standing there doing nothing. She was actually trying to get through one of the window panes that they busted open. You hear the shot, she falls back. The guy, he's like, oh, don't worry, it's just a flash grenade. And it was some of the guys standing by was like, no, dude, like, oh my God. Yeah, and then some guys yelling, medic. Right. I guess they thought it was, it was a Call of Duty game. And so that's what's happened. So, but no, it was real. She was trying to get through. And as soon as she was trying to climb through that window and over the furniture, that's when someone let her know, this ain't a game. And
what I couldn't understand was why the Capitol Police or whoever it was that were guarding the doors to begin with just let them go. I mean, they just walked away from the doors. I mean, I get it to protect themselves, but they're not. I mean, that's not really their job, is it, to protect themselves?
Well, the police have been getting in trouble all summer for overreacting to protesting. Just because it's from the other side doesn't mean they now can put on the riot gear and nobody will care.
Yeah, well, I get that part, but
I think first priority was getting the senators and congressmen out.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I think it was already empty by the time that group got to that door where the girl got shot, or where the Capitol Police.
I was sleeping all day. I didn't just watch any of it live.
Yeah, I mean, the Capitol Police were actually led away by somebody. They said, "Okay, guys, get out of here. Go ahead and get out of the building and let them do what they're going to do." I don't agree with that they let them do that, but I wasn't there. I don't know the situation. I don't know how many people were actually in that hallway trying to bust through. So there was only 4 cops standing there, so they didn't have like a whole lot of people to back them up. So
that's what I wanted to ask, because Saint's talking about this video. So Saint, was the woman trying to breach that now infamous room, the photo where those guys are pointing the guns at that broken pane of glass, or is this a different hallway you were talking about?
Okay, so from what I can see, I think this is a different hallway, but they're going up the stairs where she's at. And this room, I believe, eventually will lead into the main House chamber. And when the video starts, there's a group of officers like there getting squished because the people are trying to go forward. These officers trying to go down the stairs. The insurgents are trying to go up, and the whole thing's barricaded. You see the cops in the video. They're just like, you know what? Screw this. They start heading down the stairs like, hey, make a room. We're heading down. As people are going past them, they're just basically, it seems as if these cops are just giving up. And then the guy, he eventually breaks the panel, and you can see him yelling to people down the hallway. And she gets on top of someone's shoulders, and she starts climbing over, starts climbing into the window, and then that's when you hear, pap, and she falls back immediately. So it's like as soon as, like, you know, obviously when they thought that she was going to breach, that's when someone's like, yeah, screw this, and let a shot off. So, but I want to get back to Jeremy's point, and I've seen other people make this point saying, like, you know, well, you know, the police, they've been under some scrutiny, and they've, you know, there's been a lot of things said about the treatment of the protests during the summer, the Black Lives Matter protest. And I'd say that is a valid point, but here's a point I'd like to make. The United States Capitol is different than the streets of Washington, D.C. first, right? So what was going on in the proceedings, we had all members of Congress and the vice president in the Capitol doing official business. And it wasn't unknown that there was going to be a large, you know, at first we're going to call it a protest, you know, coming into Washington, D.C. We're going to have 40,000 people in D.C. At the very least, even before it got to the point, there should have been measures, whether it was barricades, extra police presence, you know, the guard called in, vehicles, anything to make sure that the Capitol was secure. That way, those people couldn't even get to the steps of the Capitol. You know, the failure of this isn't, because I totally understand, by the time a mob breaches the perimeter, it's too late. If I'm a Capitol Police, yeah, I'm not, you know, I may have, you know, 16 shots, but 16 shots ain't gonna do nothing against thousands and thousands of protesters. But the simple fact that, you know, it seems like there was a lack of preparedness, and that lack of preparedness also dealt with a lack of the seriousness of the situation, create, you know, just create a mismatch of where this basically was allowed to happen. And I'm talking about this security. If those guys, like the craziest part of this is, if those insurgents, the craziest of the crazies, had been allowed to get to Nancy Pelosi, Mike Pence, AOC, or any of the other Democratic representatives that are been vilified and been called all kinds of names on Fox News, on conservative media, if they had gotten to them, Nancy Pelosi probably could have been feared for her life. You know, there's a situation where I think that mob would have done something to take the life of Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Ilhan Omar, you name any of the Democrats who have been vilified through conservative media through the years. That alone should have initiated a far more better presence of security, lockdown barriers, and whatnot. So, I mean, I understand, you know, the criticism they took for the protest, and I'm not saying that those criticisms aren't valid, but I'm saying it shouldn't even gotten to that point to begin with.
Well, you said the word right there. You said mob. I mean, they had that mob mentality. This wasn't a protest at all. I mean, it was just a mob of people there to cause havoc and to terrorize. I mean, they're terrorizing the Capitol. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. So yeah, I mean, thankfully it got cleared out when they finally did show some police force outside, and they started clearing the streets, and thankfully nothing escalated. But you know, just for that short time there where they did breach the Capitol, there was a mob mentality. And you're right. I think had they reached people that like Pelosi or whoever, their lives may have been in danger. I mean, considering how far, to the extent that they went to get into the Capitol to begin with.
Well, one of the 5 people that died that day, I just read an article about today, was a woman in her, I think, 20s or 30s. She was there with her boyfriend, and she got trampled to death by the people going in once they broke the door. Like, and she was a Trump fan. She was one of the mob protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call her. She was one of them, and they were just so excited once they broke in that she got trampled to death, and there was nothing that her boyfriend could do to save her. So. And did you guys hear about this cop, the second cop that died? They're theorizing that it's possibly suicide. Yeah. I don't know any more beyond that. That was the last article I read. I mean, I don't know that we would want to speculate or anything like beyond, what people are, thinking or some theories about some of the cops having involvement. I don't know this guy. I'm not trying to say anything like that. It's just, I don't know if it was the trauma of everything that happened, the pressure of, maybe he has personal stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff. So
it's hard to say. You don't know what's going on in somebody's head.
Yeah.
That was just maybe something, the straw that broke the camel's back for him or something.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. I mean, they're talking about filing impeachment again tomorrow. You have everyone bringing up the 25th Amendment. I don't know that anyone's actually going to do that before the.
Well, I mean, how many days does he have left? Was it 10?
10.
Yeah.
10 days left. I mean, can anything be done within 10 days?
I mean, I think. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, incite the 25th Amendment. I would do that.
The 25th, if they did that, puts Pence in charge, who then can pardon Trump.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they're even thinking about it at this point.
Well, I feel like it's because of the danger of having Trump in charge of any kind of nuclear weapons. And that, I know that's been brought up, Nancy Pelosi talking to generals at the Pentagon or something. But I mean, if this guy wants to go out and gets pissed off that he's banned from Twitter and every other social media service, except for Parler, but that doesn't have a place to be anymore, then he can just go drop a nuke on Iran and start World War III.
Yeah, it's not quite that easy. There's a few checks and balances in that system.
You
He is
think?
not
They'll take him out.
in a time of war. He does not have the ability to send a bomb by himself.
Jeremy, from every Hollywood movie I've seen, I think that you are wrong.
Okay.
Actually,
Hey, James Woods could do it.
Actually, I think that is wrong only in the sense of, well, here's the question, right? Here's where the gray area lies, right? So as an oath that you take as a military officer, you're not required to execute an unlawful order. Now, the question comes, if the president gives you the command to launch a nuclear strike that you feel is unlawful, is that an order that you are required to obey or not?
Hey, turn your key, Saint. Turn your key.
Right. The way this, and they do, I know for a fact they do drills on this. The way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to get if you get the orders, and there is a check where it's like, the only check is to make sure that the orders you're receiving are actual authenticated orders from the commander-in-chief, that they're real. What are we, the Hunter for? Right.
Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide, man.
Crimson Tide, right. So you have to make sure that the orders are authentic. But after that, once they're authenticated, that's it. You're supposed, like you said, you're supposed to turn the key. And I know they do the same thing with the guys in the Air Force. They have that same ruling. But once the president gives a command, and like I said, the gray area is this a lawful order or not? And what I'm thinking is the people at the highest command, because I think there was an issue of Nixon too. I think once Nixon was on his way out in his last days, I think his Secretary of Defense, I think he spoke to his chief of staff and said if there was any order, make sure it went through him. If there was any kind of nuclear launch went, to make sure it went through the Secretary of Defense, because he was like, he just wasn't going to let it happen. So that's where that
it's not like he's got a red button in the White Office, in the White House, the Oval Office, I'm sorry, that he can press, from his desk and send everything off. So
he doesn't have an app on his smartphone now that he can't use Twitter anymore. He can't just press it.
They took it away from him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we'll see how this all plays out. I mean, yeah, it's only 10 days, but it's 10 days. And so,
Yeah.
by the time this gets released, it's probably going to be a few less, but I mean, that's a long time. I don't trust this guy. This guy's nuts. And
well, I mean, as far as time is concerned, I mean, impeachment, that's a process, right? I mean, it's going to take longer than the rest of his time in office. I mean, if you invoke the 25th Amendment, isn't that something that just boom, that's it, you're out?
No, the 25th Amendment also. Here's how the 25th Amendment works, right? So all Mike Pence has to do is get a majority of the cabinet. Then the president gets a chance to say whether, yes, I am fit or no, I'm not. The idea is if the president was incapacitated anyway, like he had a heart attack or a stroke, then the president couldn't say anything. So that's what really the 25th Amendment's for, right? But the 25th Amendment does allow the president to say, yes, I'm incapacitated, or no, I'm fit. Then that also goes to the Congress. And then that would have to be, it would take a vote of 2/3 of both houses to say the president is unfit, and then Mike Pence becomes the president. So even that's not a open, easy way to go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's a quick fix here. So, I mean, it's going to play out probably the way it's going to play out with him being around for the last 10 days, posting on Parler if that ever gets up somewhere, and then going from there. I mean, that's how it's going to end. And then we'll have Biden, and hopefully things will go back to a little bit normal level, back to some sort of sanity.
They're gonna take him out of there like they took Tom Cruise out in Taps.
I've never seen it. Spoiler alert, man. It's only been 40 years.
Come on. Get off my back. You haven't seen Taps? Come on, man.
It's on my list, but I got a lot of movies I gotta watch.
I mean, you don't know how that ends after all these years? Nobody's ever said.
I don't know how it ends. Should I take my headphones off?
You suck.
Apparently not.
Well, to anybody who saw Taps, you know what I'm talking about. So, I don't have to expound.
All right. Are we good with the insurrection attack on the Capitol? Anyone else got anything to add? Any other information that came out that anyone wants to talk about that one?
No, there's so many things you can say about it.
I know.
For 2 hours.
Well, I didn't want to think not about the. I mean, it is what it is. The idea of big tech and how they finally decided to put their foot down. And, I'm kind of cynical to whereas I don't really think it was on moral reasons. I think that they've, like everything else, have made a financial, they've just weighed it out and seeing how maybe to them, they see it just as more just a financial liability to continue letting this go on. And they've just been like, to the point where I think some of their own employees and their engineers have said, why are we continuing to allow this guy to do this? And they don't want any internal struggles. It's given them it's allowed them to be like, okay, finally be like, you know what? We've getting pressure, Twitter, why do we let Trump tweet and all this stuff? It's given them the out to say, okay, finally he's gone too far. Because I know in Twitter and in Facebook, there've been a lot of internal debates with their engineers, their top people, of why do we continue to let this guy do this, where if he was anybody else, we'd kick him off. So I just found that kind of interesting when it dealt with the social media, even Apple, which is kind of crazy, Apple. But I kind of feel like Apple's in the best position because Apple just does what they want to do and tells everybody basically to fuck off. Like, we're Apple and we're big enough, so no one can really touch, whatever we decide to do. But I just thought it was really interesting seeing the way that, quote unquote, big tech has decided to handle it in the past few days.
Yeah. I'm curious to know how a lot of people think about that. I mean, a lot of people are probably curious about what he would have to say at this point. You know what I mean? But I think it's a good thing they shut him down. But, I know late night talk shows are hurt now because they like, talking about his Twitter posts every day. So, we're missing out on that.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
A good idea.
Like, I saw it post on Facebook today on, that, and someone commented on it, a Trump fan saying, oh, they took away his First Amendment right to free speech. How is he going to let people know what he's thinking now? And someone below that posted, He can call a press conference. He is the president. He has a press secretary. He can literally open his mouth and talk, but he doesn't like to do that because he sounds like a total idiot when he does that. You know, he does the rallies and everything, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few days. But Jeremy, you had a topic that you want to talk about, so I want to see what this is all about. What is this death pools? This death pool.
So you know what a death pool is, right?
Usually celebrity death pools that I know about.
That's
is that
right.
what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a coworker who's been in one for 5 or 6 years, and we were talking about what his plan was for this year, who he was going to put on it, and I had another coworker who I would not have thought would have had an issue, telling us that karma was going to get us because we were horrible people for having this discussion and talking about which celebrities we think might die this year. I was just curious. If I don't have an issue with it. It's part of life is death, and you know I don't see an issue with thinking who might die this year. But I was dressed down by my coworker for being a horrible human.
Are you his supervisor?
Huh?
Are you his supervisor or something? So you can just
No.
shut the fuck up and go away, pee on?
No, nothing like that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I have a really dark sense of humor, so I don't see an issue with it. But, you know, I've also had to refrain from posting like, there was some meme on Facebook the other day with those guys pointing the guns at the glass in the Capitol in the house or whatever. And outside it said, have you, this is your final notice for your car's extended warranty, you know, kind of thing, because everyone gets those robocalls. So I thought that was hilarious. And I was like,
funny.
no, I let me give it a day. I think it was same day, and I thought it was a little too soon. You know what I mean? But that's always me. So, I mean, I don't know how Vinny and Sane think about these death pool things. I've never participated in one. But.
I mean, it's not like I really want the person to die, but
Right.
sometimes it's obvious. You know, somebody's 98 years old and they have pneumonia. Yeah, they're going to be in the pool. I mean, I really don't have a problem, but I have a dark sense of humor too. So, and I don't really want these people to die, but I mean, if somebody's living on the edge, there's a good chance they might fuck up and end up dying. So, you know, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think anybody's a horrible person for being involved in something like that. I mean, it's just a joke, really.
Right. I guess we'll go 4 for 4. I too have a dark, sense of humor. And as long as everything's done in good fun, I mean, I guess maybe keep, people under 18 off the dead pool, or as long as it's not done, in any kind of, and, as long as it's done in the group, I wouldn't be going on like post, social media and posting, oh, here's our dead pool, seems done. But, I mean, like you said, death is a part of life, and, you can laugh at celebrities and things like that. I don't see anything really that sinister or wrong with it. Mostly you're just making statements about people who you think, have fucked up lives or, live wild and crazy lives. So, no, I don't have any, I would have a problem with it. I've never been in one. But
it's not a wish list. It's
right.
Who you
Right.
think.
There you go.
I do have a wish list. It's separate.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I have a
there is
separate one
money
as well.
on this. They do put money down, and the winner will win money at the end of the year. The winner being the person with the most points by your people dying, and the younger they are, the more points you get. So does that change your opinion of whether it's a horrible person?
No.
No.
Hey,
I didn't expect Mike to go the other way.
games have to have rules, so no, I don't. It's got to make it interesting. So no, I don't really have a problem.
Well,
with
see,
it,
you got. It's always something you got to weigh out though, because who are you going to take? You're going to take Betty White, who's in her late 90s, or you're going to
99.
take Donald Trump, who eats Big Macs every day and is in his 70s. Ooh, which one would you go with?
Yeah. So when are the picks made? Like at the beginning of the year?
They have to be made before New Year's Eve.
Before New Year's Eve, and then whoever dies that year, right?
Yep. He's been in it for years.
Is that right? Wow. Whatever, man.
I told him to just look at everyone else's death pool from last year, and anybody that hadn't died yet, those are good contenders for next year.
Hey,
That way he doesn't have to do as much research.
it's better than dog fighting,
Yeah.
So, You know,
Speaking
Right.
of dogfighting, how about that NFL update for today? Let's see. The Steelers are playing in a little bit. The
they
Bucks
are.
are in. That sucks, but whatever. We'll let it go.
Hey,
Bills are in, Bucks are in.
I hate Tom Brady. I can't. I'm pissed the Ravens beat the Titans too, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that either.
I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Did you guys see that picture of Tom Brady at 43 and George Blanda at 43 side by side?
Yes. Yes.
George Blanda's a different era.
George Blanda looked like he was 63.
Yes, basically. Hey, look, it's Jeremy's wife that no one else can see in the background. She can't hear
I
us
can see
either.
her.
I was gonna see how Jeremy, can you hear us? Because I wanted to ask if you might be able to ask her to bring some potato chips that'll make anything louder than that screw top on that cap that you're drinking. That's cool. Because this is a podcast.
bite me.
Hey guys, my Grubhub's here, so I'm gonna go get that. You guys can keep recording and talk.
What'd you get?
If you want. I'll talk about when I get back. Give me a minute.
Oh man.
All right, now that he's gone,
Yeah, I know, right?
What are we gonna do now?
you know.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
Saint, you were telling us that you're in quarantine before you can go do your job, huh?
Yeah, so they fly us up, and so you quarantine at home, but basically stay in your residence. Or we have some guys who are from overseas, and they've had to be here. We got one guy from Poland. He's been here since before Christmas in this
Wow.
hotel every day.
Wow.
And basically, so here's the crazy part, right? You get the breakfast, right? They're like, oh, we bring breakfast and lunch to your room. Then you call us down, and they give you 3 menu options from a restaurant that's connected to the hotel, right?
Yeah.
So breakfast comes 8 a.m. It's a small yogurt, a mini plain bagel, cream cheese, water, and string cheese. Nothing hot, nothing whatever. So no continental bread mix. I'm like, okay.
Are you sure this is a hotel and not a prison?
Exactly, right? I feel like I'm like just got put in lockdown in county, for doing nothing wrong. So they said lunch comes by. Lunch is a turkey and American cheese sandwich, a little bit of mayo, and then chips that was thrown into a box, not even a bag of chips. So obviously they must have had like a big bag that they were just dumping
And they
chips
just dump into the thing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's
Holy shit.
and that was lunch. And that was lunch. Luckily, I got Uber Eats. I was like, fuck this.
Oh, so you
But,
got shit delivered
Hey.
to you? That's
Yeah.
just so you know, the NFL players got in trouble for using Uber Eats. You're not going to get, violate quarantine doing this, are you?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I mean, they dropped it off at the desk, and then they brought it up to my room. So whatever. But
I guess as
yeah,
long as you don't
not
leave.
too not too thrilled of the economy. Like I said, our guy Derek, he's been here since before Christmas.
Wow.
All right,
In this
so-
hotel, doing this every day.
That's awesome.
I'm the kind of guy that likes to ask questions. Are you getting on
Okay.
the boat in Seattle, or are you flying to Alaska after this?
Nah, at the beginning of the year, because they always bring the boat back to do repairs, or if it's every 2 or 3 years they dry dock and they clean under the boat, paint.
Right.
But this year we came in late, so they just brought it back, did some minor repairs. So we're getting on the boat. The boat's in the in Fisherman's Terminal in Seattle. So we'll get on the boat tomorrow, and then I don't know. They might be canceling Coast Guard. We usually do Coast Guard drills because you got to do, you got to put on those survival suits, and a bunch of drills. And he head up, and the company that used to do this, they only did this like the second year. Before they used to fly everybody up, but it became a big, shit show with people missing flights, people getting drunk. So now they like to just steam the whole crew up. So I'm gonna be on the water for 7 days doing nothing, playing a lot of poker, and well, this year I'm gonna be training for a new job that I'm getting on the boat. But most years you just steam up for 7 days doing nothing, playing poker, just hanging out, and then
That's cool.
we get up to Alaska, get all our shit on the boat, and then in a day or two start fishing.
So how big a boat is it?
Our boat's like 169 feet.
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah.
big. Yeah.
Anything
Good.
usable in the time I was gone, guys?
Oh God. Oh, she's back. She's back.
Probably the best
That's part of the
podcasting
show.
we've done.
That's part of the show.
I believe it. So yeah, so we've been using Grubhub because my wife's work gives her a $750 stipend for her having COVID. So
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
so it's nice, right?
Nice.
Yeah, so we've been using that whenever we can. Here in Vero Beach, you'd be surprised how difficult it is to actually get food delivered to you. We'll
No,
order.
you wouldn't. No, you
No?
wouldn't. No, I'm not.
Why? Is it the same? Oh, okay, because it's Vero. No, but like it's Grubhub, so like I'm like it's a national thing. They're gonna have drivers as long as the restaurant's open. You shouldn't have an issue. If we don't place an order by like before 5 o'clock, we probably aren't gonna get something for that night. I don't know what the deal is. This is my first experience with Grubhub, so.
Well, what do you mean? That they're not going to deliver after a certain time, or there's
Yeah,
just so much to deliver?
Yesterday I had an order in for where was it? Hurricane, I think maybe. It was in Fort Pierce because for some reason the Vero location doesn't deliver. So I had it in. I put my wife's in. I put my daughter's in. It added it to the cart at 5:00 p.m. exactly, and it said, "Oh, sorry, the restaurant's closed." But I know the restaurant's not closed. So it's very confusing. I don't understand the whole thing.
So, do they not deliver, or is this one of the places you've been banned from for eating at, and they're delivered to you?
That's not true, man. You got that all backwards.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I do need
It's just a mic ban. Yeah.
All right. So what did you end up getting tonight?
I just got Bob Evans chicken tenders, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. And I forgot a fork, so I need to go grab that. But
Nice.
yeah, that's I've never experienced Grubhub before. If I get delivery, it's usually pizza or something else. If I order, like at the beginning of COVID, I was going and picking up from Olive Garden. I was picking up from Outback. We had them delivered a few times, but I don't know. Takeout's never as good as eating at the actual place. Like most of the stuff we get is cold. It's just not good.
Oh, see, I didn't have any issues with Olive Garden. They did a good job getting us our food.
Olive Garden's okay because I mean it's soup and breadsticks and their bag's pretty good, but like Outback, like the what do they call it? Awesome Blossom or
Awesome
what?
Blossom.
Is that what they call it there?
Awesome
Bloomin'
Blossom.
Onion. Awesome Blossom is Chili's, I think.
Chili's,
yeah, it's just shit by the time it gets there. It's like falling apart. It's gooey. It's gross. I can't.
You can reheat that in an air fryer. If you had an air fryer, you can reheat it in an air fryer.
I do. I tried using that on. We ordered from Pineapple Joe's here. It's in Fort Pierce the other day, and we ordered onion straws, and they arrived, and they were just like undercooked. Like the batter was not dark and everything like that. So I was like, okay, let me throw them in the air fryer. I don't really know how to use that thing, so I burnt them. Yeah. So if you guys have any Grubhub experiences, go ahead and talk about it. I'm gonna go grab a fork.
Well, actually, I'm a DoorDash driver, so.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
My
cool.
wife has done shipped.
Yeah, I've been a DoorDash driver for about almost a year, and I have yet to take a dinner to anyone.
Really?
So I am officially a driver, but I have yet to do it. And
My wife tried to sign up for one of the food delivery places, and they just wouldn't hire in this area. This was before COVID, so because there just wasn't enough business in the area to warrant them having drivers. So that may have come to bite them in the ass later when all of a sudden everybody wanted to buy.
Right. Well, they did that to me too when I initially went to do DoorDash. They said that they weren't accepting anybody right now, and this is in Atlanta. I mean, I'm in the middle of Atlanta. I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? They don't the amount of restaurants and the people that live within this area, it was ridiculous. But within a few weeks, they notified me and said, okay, go ahead and start doing your DoorDash thing. And, you can
have yet to do it, huh?
And have yet to do it. I did the same thing with Lyft, though. I was a Lyft driver for 2 years before I even took my first fare. But eventually I did. And I got to tell you, I'm depressed that I can't do Lyft. I mean, obviously I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to take the risk of the COVID. I don't know who's going to be getting in my car. I don't know if they're going to have a mask. I'm not 6 feet away from them. They're right behind me. So I think that's a big risk. But yeah,
I mean, this is a perfect segue for DoorDash because you were talking about. Did you guys see that video this week? Apparently, it was recorded last August, but it just got released and went viral this week about this DoorDash driver on Long Island. She drops the food off, rings the guy's doorbell. The guy has a ring, and he says, "Hi, yeah, can I help you? I'm here with the DoorDash. Oh, yeah, just leave it right there, thanks. Oh, no, I have something to talk to you that I really need to speak to you about face to face." He's like, "Oh, what do you need to speak to me about?" And she goes on, and it takes her about 30 seconds, maybe a minute before she can actually get around to the point. Is she didn't feel like the $8 tip he left her for driving the food, which turns out to be 5.5 miles from one city to another, but it's on Long Island, so you go in a city like every mile. So 5 miles. She says it took her 40 minutes and that it wasn't worth her time for an $8 tip. She knew what that tip was, theoretically. I don't drive DoorDash, but I hear it either says unlisted or you don't know the tip, or it does list the tip. This chick went ahead and berated this guy for like 5 minutes, and then she picked up the food and walked away with it to her car and went back.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
I mean,
you got to look it up. It's a great video.
That's ridiculous. I mean, because you get money from it just for dropping off the food. I mean, it's not just a tip. It's not just a tip thing. You know, you don't have to rely on the tip for. It's nice to get them, but you don't have to rely on the tips to make money doing DoorDash.
Right. I mean, listen, I get it. This is Long Island. This is New York. It's expensive to live up there. She, maybe $8 wasn't, I don't know how much he ordered. Maybe he ordered $100, $200 worth of food. Yeah. If you do a 20% tip, if you do the 20%, it should be more than that. But I don't know how much he ordered. Maybe he ordered $10 and tipped $8. So, I mean, this was just kind of outrageous. And this goes back to that entitlement, kind of thing, people not happy to have a job. This is August. She should be happy she has a job and doesn't have to worry about just unemployment.
Over $8. I mean, she might make that up on the next delivery. You don't know. You have no idea.
And I mean, I read on the Reddit forums that it said that she was, I don't know what the DoorDash term is, but it discontinued or stopped or whatever. Once that was found out, she was done. So.
Yeah, they just stop her app. They just cut her off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading all these other DoorDash drivers. Like I said, that's why when you said you had signed up, Vinny, I'm reading all their reactions, and everyone. I didn't see one person say, "Yeah, that's a reasonable reaction." Even if it was, no matter the distance, no matter the time, that's a totally unreasonable reaction because you could have just declined the job, So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't have to take every one. I mean, if you think it's out of your range or whatever, you just don't. I mean, the same thing with Lyft or whatever. They give you a certain amount of time to take either the fare, the ride, or to pick up the food. They give you, like a minute or something before you decide, and then you can just accept it or not accept it. I mean, that's.
Right. It sucks that we, the whole tip culture that we have in America, but it's kind of like, no one forces you to get a job to work for tips. Unfortunately, it's like, it sucks. I had a job to work for tips and, casino job. And, I'd have guys win hundreds and thousands of dollars and they wouldn't tip and you get pissed off, but kind of just have to suck it up and just hope that, that you can make it up on the next person. It's like, that's just part of the job. I had a buddy of mine. He told me today, he said he worked in a restaurant, a steakhouse. He said he followed the guy outside because I guess he had a big order. I guess it was a guy and his wife, and they had a big order, something like, $90 to $100. And the guy left him like $1.50 tip. And my buddy Hoops said he followed the guy outside. He said he waited till he was waiting for his wife. He's like, hey, what's going on here, dude? He's like, do you not like the service? What's, do you not like the food? Like, what's going on? Why'd you leave me $1.50 tip? The guy's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he gave him, I guess the guy pulled out a $10 bill and gave it to him. I guess his manager found out and said, yeah, if you ever do that again, you're going to be fired.
Wow.
He's like, I don't care. He's like, hey, you get stiff like that. He's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He says it's usually you get stiff by people who have big orders. So but again, you work for tips, you just got to suck it up. It's just the name of the game.
I've never been in the service industry waiting tables or whatever, but in some states you get charged income tax on like 8% of any orders that you're responsible for because they're assuming you're going to be tipped. So if you aren't tipped, you're now out taxes on money you didn't get.
Right. And see, most states, the only place I worked for tips was here in Washington. Washington State's pretty fair. They give you whatever minimum wage is in your some places in Washington, I think the whole state might be $15 an hour. But at the time, it was the highest in the country at like 9 something. So they gave you minimum wage. But a state like Florida, some places, they'll only give you, because they assume you're making money off tips, they only give you like $3 an hour.
Yeah,
I think it's still $2.13. Even after all these years, I worked at Steak and Shake 20 years ago, and I'm pretty sure the server minimum wage is still $2.13. And yeah, if you don't put in that you made those tips to make up the hour between, or the difference between the minimum wage and the $2.13, you'll get bumped up, like Saint was saying with the bump. But that's if you don't report it. If you get a cash tip, you don't have to report it. I had some, I don't want to say dishonest servers, but I had people who would do that and game the system. So.
Game it. I say game it. Game it. Because if you're making minimum wage, man, whatever you get for tips, it's like, hey, I don't believe not reporting all your tips. But, sometimes you'll spend a week getting just stiffed. And what are you supposed to do? Then you're basically working a minimum wage job. It's like,
So how is that $15 an hour minimum wage working out for you guys out there?
For who?
For Washington.
Oh, I mean, I live in Florida. I'm back in Florida now. But when it was here, it's nothing. It's everything raises up, and it doesn't raise supply. I mean, the cost of living in Seattle area and some of these areas is ridiculous anyway. But there's this huge idea that if you raise the minimum wage, then prices go up in this, and they go up a fraction. Like most companies, like what they pay, like. It only go up a fraction of a percent they need to make up that money. So really, it doesn't affect anybody. I mean, if you were living in Seattle before then, making the minimum wage up really didn't affect you in any kind of way. And so that's why I think $15 should be across the country. Now, I will say in some areas, let's say, certain areas in the South, very low economic and depressed areas, for certain small businesses, I can see how that would put an effect on them. And I think those states should work to, make sure that especially when it comes to small businesses, mom and pop stores. But for the most part, any big city in any state in the country, $15 an hour, you're going to see some of your prices go up maybe 10, 15 cents. And that's going to be about it. Otherwise, there's really no excuse, So.
Yeah. I mean, it's still hard to make ends meet with $15 an hour. I mean, especially if you're not getting overtime. I mean, you're talking $600 a week minus taxes take home. So depending on what your tax, your dependents are or whatever, your tax breaks, you could be, making $475 a week take home, and that's shit. I mean, that's poverty level, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the federal minimum wage hasn't changed in, I forget what Bernie Sanders, I follow him on Facebook, obviously, because he's my hero. But, I see he keeps.
That's another show.
He always posts that it literally hasn't changed in 10, 15, 20 years, the federal minimum wage. Now, obviously, states have their different ones and whatnot, but, I mean, that's insane. I mean, these people are just out of touch and it's just ridiculous. But I myself, I follow the Mr. Pink philosophy on tipping. Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs. I don't believe in tipping, but I still do it because society says I have to. I don't agree with it. I wish they would pay people. I wish they would pay people a livable wage, and then they wouldn't have to worry about, they would do their job or they wouldn't have their job. But I still, I still do 20%. I do 10%. But the reason I bring that up is because I keep seeing Jeremy's wife walk by in the background. We were at Hurricane and Vero for a few years ago for a Father's Day, I think it was. And the guy, I don't know if he was a new server. I hadn't had him before, and I was a pretty frequent customer.
Until you were banned.
He was. I was never banned. He's an idiot. I
was never banned. There was just a misunderstanding.
No, I've never been banned on those trespass. Anyway, no. So I'm there with his wife, their 2 sons, my wife, and my daughter. So it was a party of 6. Is that right? Is my math right? So we're sitting there. Yeah, we're there for a while. It's really busy. It's Father's Day. But we couldn't get refills on drinks. I mean, the guy would walk by and just not do anything. He wasn't like doing his job. He didn't even bring out the food. The only thing he really did was take order at the beginning. And he was there at the restaurant the entire time, but he just wasn't doing anything. So at the end, me being the way I am, he did zero service for me except for take my order. You got a 0% tip, buddy. I think his wife left a little bit more, like $1 or $2 or something like that, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we walk out of the restaurant. This guy comes out after us, and he starts confronting us. And yeah,
hey, this sounds like my story.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You missed
no, I listened to your story. It's exactly what it was. But it wasn't your. I don't think it was your buddy.
Right? No.
But this guy.
Plot twist.
Right? Yeah, this guy. I mean, I just couldn't believe the balls on this guy. I mean, to do that. First of all, it's a danger to him. Like if I had a gun and I had someone behind me, I mean, Florida, what, stand your ground? I don't know, but you know, he could have been dangerous to me. You know, I don't know this guy either. So, you know, I eventually just told him, this is not, you know, it's not happening. You weren't providing good service. Sorry, man. Bye. And he went in, he was pissed off. And I reported it to corporate. They fired him like the next day with him. But I mean, that's unsafe for the customer and for the people going out. Yeah. I had another lady at Outback do the same thing. She thought I ran out on my bill because I paid on the app, and she was new and didn't know you could pay in the app. So because I didn't give her a credit card or cash, she came running out after me. And it like basically stood in like next to my car, behind my car, would not let us leave. And then and we told her we paid on the app. She said, show me the email. I had to pull up the email and show this woman, who I don't know, while I was already in my car, the email. She saw it and went back inside. And I don't know the owner, but I've been to Outback so much that, you know, he knows my face. And so I told him about it. He said, that's totally unacceptable. He didn't fire her or anything. I don't think she's there anymore, but I mean, that's a totally unsafe situation. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my standard for tipping, I usually start at 20%. But like you said, where you go to places where you have a waiter or waitress come to you to take your order, and then other people bring your food out, and, you know, they take care of you. She comes around and says, you want some more water or whatever, you know, something like that. To me, that's not the same thing. I mean, so she goes down to 15%. Now, if you're a hot chick, you get 25%.
That's why I went to Tilt and Kilt all the time, and I would tip 50% if they were semi-decent at their job. 50%. If I ordered a beer tube and a meal and a dessert, you know, that's a good chunk of change, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't have Tilt and Kilts around here anymore. But I'm a firm believer. Listen, if you can keep my tea or whatever I have, my unsweet tea, if you can keep that full the whole time and I don't have to worry about it, you get 20%. I got no problem with that. Even if the food sucks, it's not your problem. So
yeah, I mean, it depends on exactly. I mean, if the food is horrible, I don't dock the waitress, you know, because she's just doing her job. You know, that's on the kitchen. But I'll tell her, you know, this sucked, and you should tell the manager. In fact, I went to a Cracker Barrel. For lunch one day, and I
Where? No, I was just
Barrel.
kidding. Go ahead. It's always the funniest name of that place. Go ahead.
Great.
That's it.
What'd you
That's
call
an inside
me?
joke for me.
It's an inside joke for you. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I go, and everybody was sorry. They didn't always have fried chicken. So when the fried chicken came, I'm like, oh, that must be pretty good. And I heard that it was good, and I said, okay. So I went there and said, listen, I've never had the fried chicken. Is it good? She said, yes, it's great, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, great. So I get a plate of it. So they bring it, they put it down, and, you know, start eating it a little bit. And I swear to God, it was like a fucking rubber chicken. And next to the bone, I cut into it, it bled. I don't even think the thing was dead. I mean, when they brought it to my plate, it was ridiculous. So she comes back and I said, listen, I know this isn't your fault, but this chicken is so undercooked and, you know, it could get somebody sick. And so you got to be careful with that kind of shit. And she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. So she brought the manager out, and the manager just said, look, I'm really sorry about that. I said, look, this thing was probably on top of all the chicken in the fryer and just didn't get cooked. So he gave me the meal. He gave me a coupon for another meal free at the place. So he took care of me. And yes, I will go back to that Cracker Barrel simply because of that. Of course, I won't have the fried chicken, but I will go because they did try to make it right. You know, they were remorseful about it. They took care of me. They paid for my meal there and another meal after that. So I gave her a real good tip because, they didn't charge me anything for the meal. So I basically gave her the money for that, what it would have costed. So,
but
yeah,
I mean, it's not, I'm not the biggest fan of Cracker Barrel. I'm a little shocked to hear your story just because every time I go there, the food seems to be, I mean, I've never worked there either, so I don't know, have no idea about their back line operation, but it always seems like it's almost homemade. That's kind of like what their reputation's based off, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
well,
I mean,
the breakfast, I always just go there just for breakfast. I never really got anything but breakfast. It's kind of hard to fuck up breakfast. I mean, but yeah, it is. It's home style cooked or whatever, and it's pretty good for the breakfast anyway.
Right. All right. So we talked about the Grubhub's fiasco. Hey, I just got my second COVID test back. I'm negative again. Yay. I'm just waiting to see if the wife and daughter are negative. We got them tested yesterday. So if they're negative, I can
Just think positive.
You're so funny. You're so funny.
Were they sick? I mean, did they get really sick, or were they kind of just, they were tired? And...
My wife had a bad, sinus infection kind of thing.
Right.
My daughter just had just like a cough or a sore throat, nothing crazy or anything, but she still had a cough like as recently as yesterday. And so,
they said it could hang around for a while,
Yeah.
The after effects of it,
So if all goes well and we get their results back, and they did the self-test that you were talking about, the self-test, they did it in the back of my car. The CVS lady just told them how to do it. I'm like, well, make sure you do it right because I want to make sure you're not positive so I can get this surgery. So yeah,
show it at my dog's nose and send that in.
So is that good enough for you to get your surgery? Is the self-test, or is this hospital going to want to test them again?
Well, I mean, it's a self-test, but it's at the it's at a CVS, it's at a pharmacy. It's someone instructed them how to do it. I assume they did it right. Otherwise maybe it'll come back not readable or something. I don't know.
Hey, wait a minute. Did you have your surgery?
No, that's the whole thing. I got pushed back because I went to the doctor's office and I told the nurse, because my dad was concerned. My dad was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't get this until they're negative and, they're able to take care of you and everything like that. And that made sense. So I brought it up to the nurse who came into the doctor's office with me, the pre-visit. And she's like, oh, well, that's your decision. I'm like, yeah, I understand that's my decision, but I'm kind of looking for medical guidance here on if I should continue with this surgery where I live with two people that were positive and may still be positive. And so she kept saying the same thing. Oh, it's your decision. I'm like, and she's like, would you like to talk to the doctor? I'm like, yeah, I would like to talk to the doctor. So finally he came in and he immediately said, oh, hey, Michael, just based off what you're telling, with the positive cases in your house, it's not, we should probably postpone your surgery. It's elective. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was waiting for someone to tell me. So it got pushed till next Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. So as long as they come back negative in the next few days, I can go get it done. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it because it's annoying.
Still keeping them locked in their bedrooms?
Yeah, no, I mean, I told, Heather doesn't have any symptoms. It hasn't for about a week now, but I told her, no, sorry, until you come back negative, you're going to stay in the bedroom. Sophie had a symptom like I said, as recently as yesterday. So, I mean, the health department even said not to unquarantine them until they are symptom free for 24 hours.
So does the symptoms come in the mail or is it a phone call?
Heather's is on an app.
Okay.
Sophie, because she's a minor, it has to come text or phone call that I signed.
So Heather will find out, and you can't just lie to her to keep her in there for a couple extra days.
Listen, this is tough, dude. Speaking of that, like I took down all the Christmas decorations myself today and yesterday. I took down the tree, all the ornaments. I still haven't put anything away. Really, it's all stacked up and ready to go. But it's like a two-man job to get it back up in the attic.
Those are some serious first world problems.
Well, yeah, listen.
I gotta say. Holy
wow.
shit.
Vinny.
Now, if you had told me I had to dig a moat around the house because people were trying to invade, I mean, I would have been like, holy shit, man, this guy's got a rough. But
Hey,
a
you're talking to a guy with 20 or 30 pops behind him and some artwork on his wall. So this isn't a third world kind of thing. I mean, it's obvious that I have a little bit of spending money. I'm not rich by any means, but I spend it frivolously on these things.
I see this.
I was gonna say all the housewives of America, like, oh, did you have to take down some Christmas ornaments?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
It was
Mike.
Well, the thing was, I didn't have the storage to put them in because, like, I'm OCD about things, so I like the Christmas ornament storage, one ornament per thing. I don't want to wrap it up and put it in a box and then worry about it getting broken. So we didn't have enough storage, so I had to order it from Amazon. And it wasn't the same kind because the same kind for some reason is $60 for like a 20 box, a thing that holds 20, a plastic hard case shell. So I'm waiting on that. But yeah, I know I'm a whiny baby, but that's
yeah. This show sounds like a whiny first world problem. Then I had to call Amazon, and it wasn't the right box.
I was gonna text you my therapist's number, man. Holy shit.
They're probably only doing the video chats now anyway, so that'll work. Give it to me, Vinny. But that I was reading, leading to the Christmas decorations, because what do you guys think? How long is too long to leave up decorations? Do any of you still have decorations up at your households?
No.
No,
you gotta get that shit down by the beginning of the year.
I had the I did it. Yesterday. Like, been putting it off. Was supposed to do it the last 3 days. The day I was supposed to catch my flight at 11 o'clock in the morning. But I think, unfortunately for us, and this will lead also about not buying a house with an HOA. I think per our homeowners association, your lights have to be down. I think this Monday. I think it's like January 10th or 11th is the last day that in our neighborhood you're allowed to have Christmas decorations out.
I mean, I'll give people to the first week of January. I get it. Those 2 weeks of the holidays, your family's around anyway. So
first weekend after the New Year works for me.
Yeah, exactly. I give people the first week. But if I'm driving around in April and some fucker's got his lights still in his house,
Vinny's hardcore. Vinny's like, you got January 1st off. It's New Year's Day. Take that shit down.
Yeah, damn, man. I mean, come on. Seriously, man.
I know.
I'll tell you what, though. If you put up like white lights around your house, I would have no problem with somebody leaving those up year round. Even if they turn them on. I mean, you don't have to turn them on. I mean, you can leave them up and just unplug the fuckers. I mean, and
What if you're Clark Griswolding the house up though? If that looks awesome and nice, can't you just leave it up all year round?
No, not that shit. I'm talking about one strand around the freaking top of your house on the fascia board, and that's it. And I don't have a problem with that. But these people with the different colors and the blinking and all that shit, take that down. That's a little too festive.
Vinny's using all this insider terminology, like from his paint days, talking about finishing board and stuff. I don't know what all that is.
Fascia board.
Oh, fascia board. I still don't even know what that is. Oh, all right. So I know in the past few weeks, we had talked about Cobra Kai, and I tried to push you guys to see if you could get one episode in or start it all.
I watched two.
You did?
I watched two right before the podcast.
All right. Anyone else get a chance to even do anything? Check out.
I watched football.
No, I have every episode downloaded, but I'm probably just gonna wait for the Steam. That's actually how I've caught up on a lot of our shows. When I'm on the boat, we have downtime. I'll just power through like a whole season. So Cobra Kai is on the list. So I have it all downloaded.
I like it. I mean, I've only seen 2 episodes, but I like it.
It's fun though, right? It's cheesy.
Yeah,
but
it's fun. It's cheesy. Yeah, but yeah. It's okay.
I did finish The Mandalorian.
Oh, we can talk about The Mandalorian. Vinny, you don't watch that, Vinny? I forget.
I'm not a Mandalorian guy. I mean, I'll watch it, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, it's good. It's so good though. It's like oh wait, you didn't like Star Wars back in the day.
Is that a Star Wars thing?
Yeah, this is going back 2 episodes ago where we were talking about, and Vinny was like, Star Wars after Empire Strikes Back, I gave up on it.
Exactly. Hey, if Jim Kirk ain't in one of these fucking episodes, I ain't watching it.
Oh, he's a Trekkie. That's why.
Yeah, there you go. I'm an old school Trekkie. I'm not, I like Jean-Luc Picard too, but yeah, that's it. That's generation. That's as far as I go.
Captain Cisco all the way.
Deep Space Nine.
Oh boy.
Well, I got to
Space
see.
Nine.
I want to see the Tarantino Star Trek if that ever comes to fruition. He's been talking about it for years, and they've actually seemed to make some progress on it, but we'll see.
What are all these fucking Klingons doing on this fucking spaceship? Like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
That would be a hard R. That would be awesome. I mean, the thing about I'm a fan of the new movies, the reboots, but their Chekhov died, in that weird accident where
the young kid,
I mean, he got pinned between his Jeep when he was checking his mail. It's something weird, but it's horrible. Yeah, but I mean, at the time they were talking about not continuing on, but also the third movie didn't do blockbuster status, as much as they thought. So I mean, it's been 3-4 years now.
Right.
That's why they're thinking, are we going to reboot? Are we going to do the Tarantino one? Are we going to do something else? But
I'm still pissed off Deep Space Nine never got their movie. I'm a Deep Space Nine guy. Cisco needed his movie. What's going on here?
Can they not incorporate him in the series on CBS All Access? I don't watch it. The Star Trek Discovery somehow?
No, I don't watch that. I had the first season of Picard. It was actually pretty good.
Picard. Decent. That's what I mean. Yeah. They could put him in that too, because I know there's 2 Star Trek series. You're right. Picard.
I hope they put him in Picard because it'd be great if they added him to that. But I'm still pissed off. I ride for Deep Space Nine, and pissed off that the black captain can't get his movie. Huh? that's how we know it.
I watched the first episode of Deep Space Nine in the 90s or whatever. It doesn't end. I don't know if you remember saying. Doesn't it end with like him fishing with a kid or something like that? I don't know. I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, this is not really my thing. But I've never really been a hardcore Trekkie. I've still not seen the very first Star Trek movie. So, I don't know.
Wait a minute, the first one you mean with Shatner and them, or
the Star Trek the motion picture, the one, the one before Wrath of Khan. I've seen Wrath of Khan and every other one. I missed a few of the new Next Generation movies, like I think I missed the Borg one.
Star Trek the motion picture is it's kind of a letdown.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So
yeah, it's not one of those movies where you said, okay, that's good, you don't have to do another one.
Right.
When I saw that, I was like, I hope the fuck they do another one. This sucked.
And they did. Listen, they made the best Star Trek movie. I mean, it's debatable, I guess, but they made the best Star Trek movie after that with Wrath of Khan. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably the best one.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan was great. I mean, the first, the 2, 3, and 4 were I liked a lot. Even the Voyage Home with
with the whales.
Yeah, with the whales. I mean, yeah, of course, cheesy, ridiculous. I get it, but
it's still fun. I liked it.
Interesting side note, like the whole movies thing, like after the Wrath of Khan, it kind of just became a pissing contest between Shatner and Leonard Nimoy because both of those, they both directed one of those movies.
Right. Yep, right.
And it's like it actually became just a pissing contest because Shatner was just pissed off that Nimoy was getting all this praise for his directing skills. So he demanded if they were going to do any more movies that he was going to be able to direct it. And it just went back and forth. It's just kind of funny. But
call back
to an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who is William Shatner's an asshole?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, he's pretty much an asshole.
Call back to the death pool, Shatner or Biden.
Oh shit! Well, Shatner's like 90 something, right? Isn't he like? 90?
I think he's like 89, 90, something like that.
Oh, is it like that? Yeah, I thought early 90s, late 80s. Yeah. Oh shit! Who knows? I
mean, for democracy, I'll go Shatner because I'll pick Shatner because I want democracy, and from everything you hear, like he's really an asshole. Like none of the cast, none of them really like him. So
yeah.
Jeremy, got a thought on that or no?
No.
Okay, good. The guy who brought up death pools has no opinion on it. It's going to Shatner or Biden's
going to Jeremy, pick a guy. Pick a fucking guy.
I don't know if either one of them. I'm not good at guessing this stuff.
He doesn't have to have one.
This concept was just interesting to me, that's all.
So we're going to do a little bit reverse this week. And before we close out the show, we usually start with our updates, but because of everything that happened last Wednesday, we had to address that, I think, right off the bat. Anyone have any updates from the past week to update the listeners about?
No, not really. I guess just update. I'll be I'll be working the day job for a few months. So I'm going to try to record some stuff while I'm up there, some insights, anything I hear from the news, anything Mike sends me, and I'll get it back to Mike. And I don't know, you can edit and cut it in however you feel like or whatnot. But yeah, that's why if I'm not on the weekly podcast, that's what I'm going to be doing for a few months. And as soon as I get back, try to jump back onto it. But that's the only update for me.
We would have already been on Kimmel in a few months, so
that'd be pretty funny, right? Oh, hey, by the way, I actually did tweet Kevin Spacey because we talked about that in our text.
Did you really?
Yeah,
oh
but
really?
He didn't respond though. So just so everyone knows what we're talking about,
Yeah.
The usual Saints, we have a text thread, and we've been hypothesizing on who we could get for a guest. I'll reach out to anyone. I don't care. I'll reach out to the lowest level person, the highest level person. I've got no responses, but I was really
Did you send a tweet to Weird Al Yankovic?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Weird Al would be great. He's the awesome
Weird Al
guy.
would be great. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about. Listen, I feel like first of all those people probably go through agents and everything. That's why
Sure.
That's why I thought Spacey might actually respond. But because who knows? I don't think he has an agent
Yeah.
now. I was so on the fence. That's why I sent that in the text thread, because I don't know. Like I know you said saying nothing could be off limits, but then who's going to agree to that? This guy's in his right mind would never agree to that. So I did not want to send it, but then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. Let's send it. He's not going to respond anyway. And he did it. So.
You know what? He's a scumbag and everything, but he's probably not stupid. He probably knows if he goes on anything, on social media, that people are going to just rip him apart. I mean, there's people just wanting to get him on a podcast to do that,
Right.
So, I mean, even if he was just around for like a minute, when if he went on some tirade because you asked him a certain question, I mean, your shit would be going viral in a matter of minutes.
Well, that's how it would go, because I'd introduce him and then start off with a nice soft pitch, and then Saint would come in. So what about this rape allegations and everything?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes,
I mean,
I would.
how do you start other than how Jay
Absolutely.
Leno started?
What?
But he asked, what's his name?
Oh,
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
What
yeah.
the hell were you thinking?
Exactly.
Is that what he
Exactly.
said? I thought what,
Yeah.
He didn't say what. I thought there might be another famous interview, something like, it was someone said, heard any good jokes lately? I forget what it was. Oh, that was Pee Wee at the MTV Awards after he got caught masturbating in the theater. He comes on, he's like, heard any good jokes lately, or whatever, bad Pee Wee impression, but that was more
That was
Bobcat
Can you do that
Goldthwait.
again?
That's what I thought. I was just saying, Bobcat was there?
Bobcat would be a great guest, but he's too famous. We'll see. We'll see who we can get. But all right, Vinny, any updates from the past week?
Everything's pretty much the same. I'm still employed. I'm still applying to jobs, and
Yeah.
I may actually have to do that DoorDash thing that I signed up for quite a long time ago and haven't delivered anything yet. So, but other than that, everything's the same. I'll let everybody know when I'm employed. I'm sure everybody's on the edge of their seat for that one. So,
We want you to be able to take care of yourself, so you're not sucking off the government teat anymore. But
I love government cheese.
Whoa. Be a good liberal and just be happy that he has everything that he needs, Mike. If he
I
needs
am.
anything, he's going to come to your house to get it.
That's fine. I'm good with that. Vinny, you can come crash here. You can go. I don't care.
I'm not getting anything with the government. I didn't even apply for
What the hell? Why not?
unemployment.
I'm about to say you're doing it wrong, man.
Yeah,
Get that
I
government
know.
teat and
I
suck.
need to be fucking the system somehow.
You paid into that for years. Now it's time to get it back.
Right, exactly. But yeah, we'll see, man. I'm hopeful for a couple positions. So
You got the social medias for the show, man. You can post your paintings up. You can do whatever you want, man. You sell that stuff. Make a link tree like I did. Go ahead, get your stuff out there. We got a whole bunch of people following us now. Most of them are podcasts, but we got a review on Apple Podcasts. I was really psyched about that. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, 5 stars. I think it's probably from the same guy. Some guy offered me like a trade to listen to his podcast, and I listened to his. It was pretty good. I'd give it a shout out. I have to look up the name, but it was all about manga, and I don't know anything about manga. so it was really just 2 guys talking. But no, it was like us in the sense of they were talking about one thing.
What is manga?
It's the Japanese comic books, but it's you read it backwards.
I got you. I call it manga. Okay.
Oh,
manga.
sorry. I don't, does anyone know which one's
I
the
don't know
right
what it
way?
is. I call it's shit to me.
Either or, yes, yeah, whatever. It's good. Manga.
I'll give them a shout. Whatever, I don't care. It's the Shonen Flop podcast. So I listened to the very first episode. They were talking about something called Zip Man. I had zero idea what they were talking about, but it was the interaction between the two of them. And they just were having fun talking about it, referencing different things, whether pop culture, things like that. But it was cool. It's just, and that's what it's about. That's why I like our show, because I don't really have to edit anything out. Last week we did a little bit because we had a little bit of silence because we messed up something. But we usually just shoot the shit, and that's what makes it fun. And I think
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people into that manga, or however you say it. I mean, Barnes and Noble has like a whole section of just that, and so I guess it's pretty popular.
What's Barnes and Noble?
What's Barnes and Noble? Yeah, there's no more.
I don't know. One over here. One down the street.
He lives in a big city. He's still got these stores that exist.
Wow! You don't have Barnes and Noble anymore?
All our bookstores have closed.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
There's one in the mall here, but the mall's dying, so I don't anticipate staying around much longer.
No,
even Chick-fil-A is closing in that mall.
Really? Wow. Well, I mean, they got the standalone outside that does all that business.
They close on the 15th, apparently.
Wow.
And if God's Chicken can't make it, that mall is doomed.
that mall's been doomed for a while.
Chicken, man.
I call that.
Hey, that's gotta be a recurring theme. God's Chicken.
God's Chicken. That's what we got Jeremy for.
If I get a job at Chick-fil-A, at least I'll have Sundays off.
Right.
All right, Jeremy, any updates from the past week?
No.
Yeah, I figured as
Just
much.
working.
Well, we've had a lot.
How do you update nothing?
That's right.
We've had a long
I
show.
opened 3 boxes today.
Oh, he's still unpacking.
There you go.
Oh, yes.
First world problems. Talk about that right there.
That's
you
right.
guys ride me for that. You don't ride him at all.
That's less first world than your shit about putting decorations away. The man's taking the shit out of boxes to live in the home. You're just taking shit that you bought over the years and shoving it in boxes and storing it so you can rip it out again in another 11 months.
You're literally like, my wife and daughter have COVID, but now I have to put up all the decorations and they didn't fit in the box. So I had to order Amazon.
I don't want to break one. I don't want to break one. I can't wrap it. I don't know how to wrap it.
Breaking news next week is Amazon order took an extra day. How dare they?
Well, I'll update you on that. But there is breaking news. There is breaking news. Pelosi from CNN. Pelosi says that she's going to tell Pence he needs to invoke the 25th Amendment. We'll see if it actually happens, but we're not going to circle back to that.
Exactly.
I think that's a good way to end the show. Are there any other topics we missed that we can't cover next week or in the future that anyone needs to talk about? I think we're good.
No,
I think we had a good show.
We're getting close to kickoff, so.
I know, dude. I got to get over and watch that. Go Steelers. I got my terrible towel right here. Woo! See?
There it is.
This game has been over for a while.
Oh, what? Saints winning?
Oh, the Saints game?
Yeah.
Why are you in the background, like, hiding?
I don't know. Chris crawled around so you guys wouldn't see him earlier.
I know the listeners can't see it, but Jeremy's background's entertaining. Like his family's like skulking around in the background, like really.
It's the stairwell.
I low key love it when you're watching like CNN or MSNBC and everyone has their Zoom things and you see their kids come in like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who cares? It's the best. That's the thing that goes viral.
The dogs barking or some shit. Yeah.
No.
All right. I want to say, remember to call and leave us a voicemail. We would love to play our very first voicemail. I got one from my wife, but it's just her lying because she's never listened to the show and saying, "I love the Usual Saints. It's the best podcast." It was testing out the system.
Awesome.
But I would love to like play a voicemail and just like react to it, whether it's a comment on if we're great, if we suck, if you have a question about us, about anything, if you have a topic you want us to cover, that would be awesome. We'd love to do that, and we can play it on the air. And you hear yourself if you want to. If you don't want to, you can also email us. But the phone number is 240-SAINTS, and that's 3 S's. So that's 240-724-6877. The email is usualsaints@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @TheUsualSaints. And for Vinny, Saint, and Jeremy. This is Mike D, and thanks for listening.
See ya.
Peace.
Does that phone
All
number
right,
have any
guys.
numbers in it?